Okay, today we're going to do a exponential function, uh, graph it on our calculator, and we're going to plot some points and then have the line of best fit for that created and come up with an equation. And so the first thing we do is clear our calculator. So we hit 7 plus for the memory. And I said 7, it's second, then plus for the memory. We do it again. And then you do 7, 1, 2. So it's second, then the plus, then 7, 1, 2. You always want to clear your calculator before you start any calculation. So the first thing we want to do is put data from a table into our calculator. And the way we do that is we hit Stat. We're going to hit 1 for Edit. And L1 is our X values. L2 will be our Y values. So I'm going to go ahead and put in our X values. So first one is 0, then 1, 2, and I'm just going to keep putting them in here until I get to 7. Alright, let's have 7. So you notice I got 7 displayed here, and I have lines here. Now I can move it over. And now I'm going to put my Y values in. So I'm going to say 56, 42, 33, 25, 24, 'll put my last 2 in here. Okay, so I have my data in my table, and I want to go ahead and turn my plots on. So otherwise, whenever you put any points in there, you got to turn, in stats, you got to turn the stat plot on. So I'm going to go to second, and see this is in blue, that's why I hit second, and I hit Y equals. And you can see that plot 1 is off. We want to turn it on, and we have a 1 here. So I'm just going to hit enter because that's the one we want. And if you notice in the off, there's a solid box. The cursor is blinking on the on. We want to turn it on, so we're just going to hit enter and see how it shifted over. We want to keep the dots the way they are. Our X list is in L1, our Y list is in L2. Now our marks, we want smaller marks, so I'm going to go down here, move the cursor down, go over to maybe like the small one, and hit enter. And there we go, we have it. Alright, so we have our data here, so I can hit graph, see what happens. You see, nothing really kind of happens. That means our window is probably not adjusted right. So I'm going to go to Windows, and remember my X values, the lowest one was 0. So I'm going to put a -1 in here for my minimum. Alright, and then my Y max, if you remember, was the highest. That's the X value, that's this here. I went from 0 to 7, so I'm taking -1, like right about here. And you can see it's moved already. And I'm going to make this, well, let's just leave it at 10. I think that'll be fine. We'll leave it at 10. Even though we go to 7. Now my Y values, that's right here, my lowest number was, it went from 56 to 7. So I'm going to go ahead and change my Y value. I'm going to scroll down here to Y min. I'm going to make it a -1. And I can leave it at 1, I can make it 0 or whatever. I just like a little room so I can see my x-axis and my y-axis. Alright, my y max was a 56 when I typed in the data, so I'm just going to put 60. And let's count by 5s. Do a scale of 5. And if you look over in this window here, it's kind of adjusting everything for me. Look, it's already plotted my points for me here. And I'll move this down, and it'll also, it kind of gives me a pretty look of what it looks like. Alright, now I'm going to hit graph. See, there it is. It looks nice and clean, so I'm going to hit graph. When I hit graph, there's my plots. Now I have my data here. Now I want to draw a line of best fit, something that kind of separates the two. We know it's an exponential, so it's going to kind of start high and then kind of curve a little bit and bend down close to 0, but may never touch it. so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Stat. We're going to go to Calculate. And now we're looking for exponential because we're doing exponential this time. And it should be 10. Or 0 if you want to see 0. There it is. See right there? So we can hit 0 or we can just hit enter here. Our X list is an L1. Our Y list is an L2. We are doing the exponential regression. We want to store our equation because we want to know what our equation is. So I'm going to go here. Again, just like we did the correlation coefficient, we're going to hit bars. We're going to go to Y bars. Hit enter for function. Hit enter for Y1 because that's where we want our equation. You see, that's where it's telling us. And then we're going to go down one more. And we're going to hit calculate. Now, it's calculating for us. And look, here is the exponential formula. A is our starting one, so it starts around 53. B is our multiplier, so it's like 0.083. And X, that's these values here, is numbers that we can plug in. Usually it represents time somehow, or a number of times we repeat something, or whatever. And we put that in here. Now remember, the exponent's only on the B. So you say 1 times 0.8, and then 0.8 times 53. And if you have 2, it would be 2. I said 1 times, but it's 2. That means it's 0.8 times 0.8, because it's the exponent of 2, and then that gets multiplied to A. I made a mistake by saying it's 1 times that, but really what it is it's 0.8 to the first power, which still is 0.8, and 0.8 times 53. So I'm sorry about that. Alright, so now we've got this. Notice we don't have an R because we're not looking for regression. We're not looking for the correlation coefficient. That was only for the linear one we were looking for. And so now we can go to Y equals, and it'll give us our equation. Okay, we probably would only round for a couple of it. And then it gives the table over here, tells us the data. Now your calculator won't do this unless you hit second table. Look, if I go second table, then I can see the same thing that I have here. These are the X values that I can put in for X in my Y, my equation here. And it will do the math for us. Now if you look at the graph, you can see that it draws the line for us. This is like our line of best fit. You notice it doesn't hit all the lines, it goes between them. So it's our exponential like line of best fit. The vertical asymptote could be like around 1. Could be 0. I don't have it all the way through, it's probably 0. Could be 1, I don't know, I have to like go a little further. But you can see that it crosses the y-axis around here. And it goes through. Now remember, the equation is only for the line of best fit, basically, for this line. It doesn't mean it's the line for the actual. So it's kind of like the lines drawn like between them. Alright, so right there we have found the exponential function. We found the equation. The equation's right here. It's in our y equals, and there it is. A table, we can see data tables, and we can see how it's graphed. If you have any questions, you can email me.